Let me show you how to create fine lines for lashes and hair on babies and adults, and sometimes even animals. And the trick of it is, and this is really a large um, zoomed in look of an eye, but I'm going to probably focus on these because these are so over exaggerated. But this is a little bit more realistic, and I'm going to show you a few more ideas as we go on as well. But the trick for those is the type of brush and the way you hold the brush. So I brought out a few brushes I might have chosen. And what they are is, if you're not familiar with them, 3 of these brushes are script brushes. And you can take a look and see what they're all about. Script brushes don't look like they have this amazingly fine tip, and you need a fine tip. But the thing that's interesting with them is that when you wet them, they're as fine as a hair. So these are different brands. This is Creative Mark, the gray base, and different sizes. The one on the right here, is a 1 in their sizing. And the one on the left is a 2. And they look tremendously different just because they're dry. And my favorite is either this 1, or I have 3 and 4, which happen to be packed up at the second. So I'm going to show it to you on the 1. But you can see it doesn't look like it just has the most wonderful texture and point for painting fine details like hairs. But the secret to using these is when they get wet. So let me just kind of dampen this, just dip it in a minute as if I'm going to paint with it. And now let me show you what it looks like in comparison. I'm kind of twirling it for you to see, but it's amazing. It's as fine as the very tip as almost the hair on your head. And you have amazing precision. This is a silver black velvet. Currently my overall favorite brushes. There's a few exceptions to different particular brushes for different things, but across the board with their rounds and their cat's tongues and their flats and script brushes, I really think it's the best bang for your buck, silver black velvet. So let's say that I wanted to add a few hairs to this eye. So I would go in, and I'm actually using, instead of black, and even on here, instead of black, I used Payne's Gray. So I'm just next to me, just kind of dampening the brush. The right amount of paint makes a big difference. And if you need to try it out first on a scratch paper, you just go right ahead. And if I wanted to add a hair, a small hair here and there, and with lashes, don't forget that you're fine having them kind of crisscross a little bit. Lashes don't look perfectly together unless it's a strip of false lashes. Real lashes overhang and crisscross a little bit. And I'm just adding a few more little ones just so you can see what they look like. Real lashes also don't have like a blunt cut. They're tapered and they're different lengths. Look in the mirror under a magnifying glass at your own lashes and you'll see exactly what I mean. Here's another example of a painting that is only maybe a half to a third done. And I do a wash on the hair, but then I'm going to start adding these wonderful hairlines. And I don't want it, I'm going over this because it's a little bit of a dry brushing look and I don't want that. But the secret with hair is to each layer go a little darker. Even if someone's fairly light, they're blonde, you still want to go a little darker from light with hair. And You would think, oh my goodness, you're going to paint this entire head of hair. Yes, but it's really not bad because once you get going, and I do like a little bit of a pivot movement, I just go, once I know what I'm doing, I've got my wrist down. In this side view, you can see I just pivot away until I'm dry. And then I just continue on. So I'm just going to pivot, pivot, pivot. And I just put a loose hair so you can see it a little better. I'm just going to continue on. You'll notice I'm not doing it on a white paper. I first did an underpainting of a watery Payne's gray. I had a tape here originally. I took it off for whatever reason, but here's the look of what we're doing with my hand there. And I also need to do some lashes with her. And very carefully, not everybody has model lashes. A lot of people have just little blunt ones too. And I have like a little blotch of them some places, as if she has a little mascara on. And then I have other places where it just goes up. And no matter how thick or thin, I'm doing the same technique of just carefully with the very tip of the script brush, giving her a little bit of lashes in there to pop her eye. And I might do a couple down here as well. If you can see, I'm just doing a few little sparse ones, but it's the same theory. And now her eye looks a little bit more completed. So that's how I do little strands. If I have, here's a painting that I did complete, and I did leave a lot of streaks of light in his hair, but I don't mind adding a few more darker ones. The very darkest are the last ones that you do. And you go from light to dark. If he had real dark hair, I would start the base color in a lighter manner, in a darker manner. And I'm just adding a few little strands real carefully, and I'm going to fill them in a little bit. This little boy is catching fireflies. Isn't that fun? Fireflies are so cute. They're so magical when you're a child. So that gives you an idea. And I could even let his hair dry and go in and do a wash over it, as long as I don't work that wash, as long as I went in carefully and filled in, because I don't like a little bit of the paper that's showing the light. So I might go in and just kind of fill them in, either dabbing or with a light wash. You can see this side over here versus there. Show you once again up close. Although there's a little sheen on it. Let me do it sideways so you're not necessarily, there you go. So there is a look. And let me also end by showing you this little sweet baby. Is there anything sweeter? I love doing portraits of little babies. Now this baby has his little face squished in, and it's darker in the room. So there's a lot of shadows and sweetness. And you can see I started with some of his hair right on the little edge here. And so this time he's got light hair and he's got that baby fuzz. So this time I'm going to go into burnt umber, and I'm just going to put, as soon as I touch my brush to the paper, if it comes off a little too dry, I'm just going to go right back in. It works best when you are, when you are definitely wet enough that you aren't dragging the brush. And I think I'm going to go to a side view for you so you can see what I'm doing. So I just want a couple little sweet baby hairs to come out, not real dark, not real detailed, just a few little baby ones depending on whether this baby has a lot of hair or a little. This one has very little peach fuzzy kind of hair. So I just want to add a little bit of texture in different shades just to kind of complete a little bit of the detail work on it. And as you can see from where things are a little shiny and wet, that's just what I did. I just put in a few little details. Again, I'm going with the very tip of my brush. And I'm just dragging these tiny little details around for this precious little baby. So I hope that gives you some ideas on how to use this brush. I probably used a larger brush for these lashes. This was just a ta-da, bomb, close-up. But I probably used a larger brush for most fine hair when I get to the point where I am on the top layers. I'm going to use a script brush, and I'm going to do it just very deliberately and carefully by pivoting my wrist and creating just a wonderful light detail of fine hairs. I hope that's helpful to you. If you'd like, subscribe, because I love to share some of my tips and tricks and ideas with you on the joy and peace and happiness of painting. So I hope you will stay in touch so we can be online friends and I can share a lot of that with you. Take care. God bless your day.